G'day guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going through my round 12 AFL tips plus predictions, so we'll get straight into the video. As we always start off now on Friday nights, we had the Swans taking on the Blues at the SCG. The Swans hosted the Blues and got the job done by 26 points. And just to say, I only got 4 out of 9 this round, but I can't blame myself. If you manage to get above like 6 out of 9, generally you did like one of the best jobs you could ever do. Like, I would be surprised if someone actually got 9 out of 9 out there. Like, if there was literally like minimum, there would have only been like 10 people I could have imagined. There were like 4 or 5 upsets this round. This round was the official round of upsets in my opinion, and the Swans got done against Carlton. Pretty average night, to be honest, in a little upset there. And then this game I don't want to talk about, but the Hawks did get it done against the Saints. To be honest, they probably should have won by 4 or 5 goals. Even Ross Lyon said we just played a poor brand of footy, and the Hawks way too strong. They played the game how they wanted to play it. They kicked about 16 behinds. They probably should have won by more, even Ross Lyon agreed. And yeah, we just had a poor day. I don't think we'll drop off though. Well, we probably will, but hopefully not. Freo, this is where the upsets came. So Hawks got it done against the Saints, which I don't want to talk about. And then Freo got it done against Melbourne, and they managed to get it done by 7 points. See, this is where the upsets came in. To be honest, I wasn't too surprised by this result. Yes, this was an upset, but I wasn't too surprised. Fremantle have been playing very good footy lately. They've won their last 4 in a row. 3 of those in a row have been over 100 points. They couldn't get over the 100-point mark this weekend, but when you're kicking 79 points against Melbourne and winning the game, that's all you want to do. And Freo are now in that final spot. Actually, no, they're not. They're not in the finals, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Fremantle make finals, because they are really turning their season around. And then the upsets continue to flow, with Geelong losing to the Giants by 7 points. They came back in the game. Pretty average game, to be honest. Pretty boring one. But the Giants got it done in an upset, and the Cats, without that Patrick Dangerfield or Sam Guthrie, they are very poor in their midfield forward line. So Geelong, yeah, they had a bit of a choke there, hiccup there against the Giants. The Giants definitely deserved to win that one. And then we had probably one of our final upsets. The Suns got it done against the Dogs at TIO Stadium in Darwin. They managed to pull off the win there, the Gold Coast Suns, by a close 7 points. I saw the Dogs leading at like 25 at quarter time, and I was like, yeah, here we go. They've got this one in the bag. And then somehow the Suns just managed to walk themselves back into the game, and they definitely deserve to win that there. So well done to the Suns. And then the Eagles lost to Essendon. Got it done by 50, Essendon. The Eagles definitely played much better footy, apart from that 116-point loss against the Hawks, obviously. But yeah, they played much better footy, the Eagles, but still not strong enough to for Essendon. They just got it done there by 50 points. And then we head over to Sunday morning game, and Port just got it done over the line against Richmond. Richmond really played hard in that game. You know, it was never really an easy win for Port. At the end of the day, Richmond played pretty good under Andrew McWalter, just not able to get the job done. Be interesting to see how they play this week. And then Collingwood got it done against North Melbourne, but North Melbourne certainly challenged Collingwood. You know, they play pretty good under Right. And these past 2 weeks, out of their last 7, these last 2 games have been they've been much more competitive in these games, which is pretty good to see for North Melbourne. And then the Crows bet the Lions, and yes, this was an upset, but then again, the Crows played super good at home. Like, I wasn't surprised by this result. Lions just had a poor day, and they should be bouncing back next week, but well done to the Crows. They managed to get the job done, and I only got 4 out of 9 tips, so let's hope I can do better next week, and let's hope that there won't be too many upsets letting me down, even though it is nice to see some upsets in the comp. But let's head to the tipping right now. Before we do get into the tipping, I'd just like to say these tips that you see on the screen are my official tips. I just did a rough sketch of what I think, would be good enough to tip. And as you can see, on Friday the 2nd of June, we kick footy off. I think Thursday night footy comes back next week I believe, and I think my Saints are taking on the Swans. Hopefully, they can win there. But we're talking about the Melbourne game. They're versing the Blues, who have been very poor. Both sides been very poor, but Melbourne have been competitive in their games. They've only lost by 4 points against Port, and then losing against the Dockers in an upset at the home ground by 7 points. Even though they've had close losses, Melbourne, they had such a great start to the year, and they're not dropping off or anything, but they have been pretty poor these last couple of weeks. It's definitely not. We're not seeing them how they were playing a few weeks ago. With Clayton Oliver out, it's really big for Melbourne, but I think they'll just sneak over the line here. That will not sneak over the line. I've gone them to win by 40. Carlton have just been. I'm sorry, they're probably a couple of games that they played where they've lost that they probably should be winning, to be honest. That game against the Swans, they only kicked 51 points and the Swans managed to get it done by 4 or 5 goals. So, yeah, it's pretty disappointing from Carlton. I think Melbourne will be too strong here. It's at the MCG. They should win this, and I went with the Demons to win this one by 40 points. And then we head over to the Saturday morning game against Port, taking on the Hawks at the Adelaide Oval. Now, this one should be pretty simple, although I wouldn't be too surprised if we could see a Hawks upset, but Port should get the job done in this one. Hawks, however, been playing some pretty good brand of footy. They bet the Saints at home, and then they thrashed the Eagles, obviously, by 116 points. So the Hawks haven't been playing too bad footy. They've been playing amazing footy, pulled off that upset against the St Kilda Saints. Who I go for, if you don't know, I support them, and yeah, it was disappointing. I don't really want to talk about that game, but I think the Power should get it done here. They should get it done nicely. I'll go Port Adelaide to get it done by 34 points. I think the Hawks will definitely challenge the Power in this one, but I'll just go with the Power to get it done by about 6 goals. And then we head over to Optus Stadium. Now, this one's a pretty easy one to tip, and it's $13 to $1. This could arguably be the biggest split of odds we've seen. It's literally first versus 18th in the comp. You can't be tipping Eagles. You must be a very brave man to tip the Eagles. However, the stats do show that the Eagles did beat Collingwood last year, and I believe that is true by about 15. I don't know what the margin was, but you just got to go with Collingwood. They are playing absolutely their best footy at the moment. They possibly, I think, right now, are premiership favourites in my opinion, probably in most people's opinion as well. I'm going to go with the Pies here to get it done by 50 points, but the Eagles, on the other hand, coming off a 50-point loss against Essendon, definitely were made way more competitive. They had a few plays back like Yo and Shui, I believe. I don't know. But I think they had a few plays back. They definitely were more competitive. It was definitely one of those games where, West Coast weren't overly disappointing, but that 116-point loss against Hawthorn in the Harley Reid Cup was just very disappointing. But Collingwood should get done over the line by 50 points in this one at the Eagles' home. I think Collingwood would be way too strong. Then we have the Bulldogs taking on Geelong at Marvel Stadium. Now, this one's going to be quite a tough one to tip. The odds are going with the Dogs, but who should I tip, Geelong or the Dogs? This one's going to be a tough one. Now, I know most people would be tipping the Dogs, but Geelong could easily, they've lost 3 games in a row. I believe they haven't lost 4 games in a row since 2010. So I'm expecting Geelong to be very competitive. Dangerfield's not going to be back for a little while, but if Geelong want to make finals, they certainly need to win this one. And I wouldn't be surprised if Geelong do win this one. I feel like they could just play their competitive brand of footy and play how they did play in that little block. However, though, I'm just going to get the Dogs to get it done over the line by a close 7 points. I think this one will be very close. The Cats will play their best footy again, but just can't get it done against Dogs at home. They should win this one, the Dogs, but if the Cats win this one, they could be sneaking back into the 8, and the Dogs could be just dropping a little bit. So I could see this one going anyway, but I feel like I haven't really tipped the Dogs that much this year. They've come off a disappointing loss against the Suns, but I'll go them to win only by 7 points. I think Geelong, though, they are going to challenge the Dogs. This is going to be no easy win for the Dogs, but I feel like they'll just be able to push over the line and then just run away with the win, but I feel like Geelong will challenge them. Geelong, they certainly need to win this one if they want to get a chance. They'll probably still make finals, but top 4, I think, is almost sold out for Geelong. Like, they need to win some more games to make top 4 this year. Being premiers last year, they really need to start winning games, otherwise they're not going to fall into that finals category. Geelong, they've been disappointing, but I'm just going to go with the Dogs to sneak over the line. And then we head to TIO Stadium. Now, my tip on the screen there is who I'm tipping. I'm going to go with the Suns. Last week against the Dogs, they played very good footy. Now, I'd just like to talk about the umpiring. They were just favouring the Dogs a lot. Some were very rubbish calls, like, some of that was just absolutely crap. There were some crap calls in there. And the Crows got an upset win against the Lions. Now, I know that Gold Coast got it done against the Dogs, and I know that Adelaide got it done against the Lions, but even though Adelaide got it done against the Lions at home, they don't play their best footy away from home, especially at weird venues that, they don't really play games often. At Mars Stadium, they arguably had their worst game of the season, in my opinion, against the Bulldogs by 45 points. I know it was at Mars Stadium, and that's where the Dogs do often play those games at Mars, but in this one, I'm going to go with the Suns. They got it done against the Dogs. I think they've won their last 3 games in a row there at TIO Stadium. I'm going to go with the Suns to get it done here in Darwin. I just think that they're probably going to get this one done. I just feel like the Crows might have a poor day away from home. I know they got that upset win against the Lions, but the Suns have just been playing very good footy as of late. I'm going to go with the Suns in here to get it done by a close 10 points. I think they'll just be able to sneak over the line and just run away with the win. And then we head over to Sunday morning footy. We have the Giants taking on the Richmond Tigers. And yes, I am going to be tipping the Giants in this one. This one's very hard yet again to tip. But to be honest, both sides have been very poor this year. The Giants, especially Richmond, under Andrew McWalter, though, their last game wasn't that disappointing. They definitely took it up to the Power, and they showed, that they can actually fight in a game against the Power. But, of course, at the MCG, they just couldn't sneak over the line after having a couple good weeks apart from that Essendon game. But I think the Giants will just get it done. However, I wouldn't be surprised if I do see a Richmond win here. But I think the Giants will just run away. They won in an upset against the Cats. They did play some pretty poor footy as of late. They let the Cats come back a bit, but they still got the upset win. And in my eyes, I just think the Giants are going to get this one done here. I'm going to go with the Giants by 16 points. I think Richmond will definitely challenge them, as, both of these sides are pretty much at the same level this year. Probably none of them are really going to make finals. Who knows? Maybe both of them could make finals if they have a season turnaround. But the odds are favouring the Giants, and I'm just going to go with the Giants here to get it done by 16 points at Giants Stadium. And then we are a couple games short this week because of the buys. Before we get into this tip, the Lions, Freo, St Kilda and Sydney all have a bye. To be honest, all of those teams probably need a bye, except for Freo. They're moving along nicely, but my Saints lost to Hawthorn last week. That was very disappointing. But this one, there's no doubt probably I'll be tipping Essendon. However, again, I probably wouldn't be too surprised if North Melbourne could pull off an upset. They've been playing pretty good footy under Brett Ratten. Obviously, last game, they just, they were really poor at some stages of the game, some patches of the game. I think Collingwood led by like 65 at one point, but then North were able to kind of maintain that, and they played pretty good against the Collingwood Magpies. I think the Pies just had one of those days where, they got a pretty average win. It wasn't a big win or anything like that, but the Pies just got the win there against North. And then Essendon on the weekend, obviously coming off that win against Richmond, and then obviously beating the Eagles by 50 points. It was pretty simple win there by the Bombers, another average win. I went with them by 63, so it was a close tip, but this one I'm going to go with the Bombers at Marvel. They should win this one here. I think this one will be fairly close. I don't think the Bombers are going to pull away. I'm going to go the Bombers by 31. I think North will, be only losing games under Brett Ratten by about 30. They'll definitely be more competitive, which we would love to see from North, even though if they do take some losses, we would love to see a bit more competitiveness in North Melbourne. That's probably their goal this year, to get out of the bottom 4, probably not bottom 4, bottom 2 this year, and be a bit more competitive, which I think they can certainly achieve. But Essendon just looking too good, and on paper they're probably better. So I'm going to go with the Bombers here by 31. And that's going to wrap up this video. If you did enjoy, please do smash and hit that like and subscribe button. I know I've been gaining a few subs lately. I think we're at 33 subs, which is great. I appreciate that support a lot. Hopefully we can get to 40 subs pretty soon. But thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.